Helping Puerto Rico could help the rich get richer. After the worst hurricane in nearly a century devastated the already struggling island, the wealthy, who've always made a killing off Puerto Rico, could get even more Rico. Here's how. Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico hard. It knocked out power for all 3.4 million residents and will likely cause over $30 billion in damage to roads, dams, and neighborhoods, including the one where the Despacito music video was filmed, causing every white girl who just memorized the lyrics to scream, "Porque!" Pasito, pasito, suave, suavecito, no estamos pegando. But how has the other Daddy Yankee responded? Let's call it despacito. Suave, suavecito, no vamos pegando. It took the president 6 days to address the public about the devastation in Puerto Rico, probably because he was dealing with more important issues like tweeting 19 times about sports guys not being white or patriotic enough. Don't believe the response was slow? Ask the mayor of San Juan about it.
Only yesterday, she told us FEMA asked her to write a memo requesting what she needed.
I don't have freaking energy to write a memo.
Or the time.
Wait, write a memo? Oh, okay, cool. No, sure, I'm just gonna wait for my computer to dry out from 3 feet of water and then I'll get right on it. Now, let's remember that Puerto Ricans are American citizens because Puerto Rico is a territory of the United States. And even though they pay taxes and serve in the military, Puerto Ricans don't get to vote in the general election for president. And if the island were the 51st state, it would actually be the poorest because 45% of the population live below the poverty line. Think of Puerto Rico like America's Tiffany Trump. Technically related, but very much an afterthought, as in, where is Tiffany anyway? Puerto Rico has also always been a place for Americans from the mainland to get rich. In the 1950s, American corporations started taking advantage of tax breaks there at the expense of local businesses. Unemployment went up, as did migration from the island to the mainland. Then in 2012, Puerto Rico came up with the brilliant solution of even newer, shinier tax breaks to lure even more US elites there, trying to turn the entire island into a taxless safe haven for investors.
Private developers are selling the idea of a Geneva on the Caribbean, complete with high-end shops, luxury high-rises, private airports, private beaches, including the 6-star Dorado Beach Resort.
This place is just paradise.
When I say this place, I mean anything between the infinity pool and the electrified fence. Beyond that, it's the barrio. In order to qualify for these tax breaks, gringos have to live in Puerto Rico for at least half the year and become residents. But don't think of them as new Puerto Ricans, more like nouveau Ricans. But it's not easy to just pick up and have your staff move you, as this billionaire explains.
It's not an easy thing for people to do. I mean, moving to Puerto Rico. Now, I've been there 17 years doing business there, and I don't speak 2 words of Spanish.
I know what hijo means, but when they scream de puta at me, I'm completely lost. I think it's how they say good morning in the barrio. And what do you know? One of those fortune-seeking elitists was President Trump himself. Back in 2008, a fledgling resort in Puerto Rico paid Trump to manage the club and use his name in order to save it. And yes, you guessed it, 7 years later, the Trump International Golf Club filed for bankruptcy. Because by now we all know that Trump is the reverse King Midas. Everything he touches bursts into flames. Still, after 6 days of silence on Hurricane Maria, Trump decided it was a good time to finally make a statement on Puerto Rico's massive debt. Yeah, the president tweeted that there were billions of dollars owed to Wall Street banks that sadly must be dealt with, which is the most callous thing a president could possibly say. Bringing up debt now is like a slumlord mentioning rent is due while you're stuck inside your apartment fire. Hey, I know you're probably dying in there and I don't mean to interrupt, but if you could just leave a check under my door by the end of the day, that'd be great. And yeah, in the laundry list of things working against Puerto Rico right now is its $74 billion debt. But that debt was incurred in part thanks to what decades of pro-corporate policies did to the economy, purchased for pennies on the dollar by ironically the very same hedge fund managers now being lured to invest in the country. It's like the human centipede, but instead it's one hedge fund manager with his mouth sewn to his own hole. Last summer, the debt was partially relieved through a Band-Aid bill which allowed Puerto Rico to do something its unelected president has done 4 times: declare bankruptcy. Only thing is, to get it, Puerto Rico had to lower its minimum wage, close schools, and cut health budgets in the cruelest game of life called, "Hi, I'm Tiffany Trump as a U.S. territory. When's my birthday? Huh? You don't even know!" Trump's tweets about the island aren't just cruel, though. They hint at the ways the rich are about to use the hurricane in Puerto Rico to get even richer. Trump mentioned the poor state of the electrical grid, which is a utility that many private companies have wanted to cash in on. And now they'll most likely get their chance, because disasters become opportunities for companies, just like in New Orleans when public schools became charter schools after Hurricane Katrina, or in Haiti after the earthquake when the garment industry profited by building more low-wage factories, or even just after Hurricane Harvey, when the Houston mayor made a head-scratching appointment.
A former Shell Oil Company CEO and native Houstonian hired for a new job today. Marvin Odom is the city's chief recovery officer.
Great. A former oil CEO is going to rebuild Houston, which not only means that rebuilding will be a huge boost for corporations, but if you think about the link between fossil fuels, climate change, and severe hurricanes, it's the most Machiavellian move ever. That's like making the head of the EPA a guy who doesn't believe in environmental protection. Oh, wait. That's like making the Secretary of Education someone who wants to destroy public education. Wait. That's like making your energy secretary someone who publicly supported abolishing the energy department. God. That's like making your FCC chairman a former Verizon lawyer who wants to kill net neutrality. Oh, he is. That's like making the Secretary of State an oil industry CEO with vested interest in policies that help the oil. I hear myself. That's like a very on-brand move for America right now. This is all what author Naomi Klein calls disaster capitalism, using natural disasters to promote free market rebuilding that ends up mostly benefiting corporations, banks, and realtors. But we can't forget that Puerto Rico isn't just made up of greedy companies and billionaires who don't speak 2 words of Spanish. It's about the people on the ground filling in the gap when Daddy Yankee hasn't helped. So, more than a century of being America's Tiffany Trump, plus a hurricane and backhanded sympathy from a president they didn't elect, means every way you look, Puerto Ricans are screwed. That is, unless you're a Nouveau Rican. Hijos de puta. Thanks for watching Newsbroke. As always, now is your time to subscribe. Just do it. Just click that button. Click it. I'll wait. Also, if you know someone in Puerto Rico or you yourself are there, how are things? I hope that you're safe and that you're, dry and rebuilding. Do you have family on the island yourself? What are your thoughts about this entire colonial legacy between the U.S. and Puerto Rico? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you next week.